Good afternoon, guys. We decided to warm you up a little bit with that technical difficulties. Now we're just going to get down to business. Thank you for being here with us today. My name is Chisom Udeze. I am an economist and a CEO of a company that works with private firms, public institutions, and intergovernmental organizations to deliver business strategies and drive growth. I am also the founder of Diversify. Diversify is an organization with three core mandates. First, to provide professional empowerment via starting own business or securing employment. Two, to address mental health and wellness challenges as it relates to professional, emotional, and social well-being. And three, to enhance community building through social gatherings over various activities such as yoga or community lunches. At Diversify, we know all too well the difficulty people have in securing employment in Norway or elsewhere, really. And coming from an entrepreneurial background, entrepreneurial family and a business background, to me, starting own business was a no-brainer. However, I know that many people do not have the same background as I do. My Diversify team and I realized that many people are held back for many reasons, including fear or belief that they don't have the business skills needed to run a sustainable company. So we run in-person programs to address this topic. Now, with the current situation that has many of us staying at home, we decided to run a digital series to address how you can start and run your own company. So with this series, we hope to squash any doubts that you have, and hopefully by bringing on bright minds like Raya, we hope to show you that it is possible to grow a business or even your brand. So why did we choose Raya as our first speaker to launch this series? Well, she's brilliant. And of course, she left the corporate world 5 years ago. So let that sink in. 5 years ago, Raya had no entrepreneurial experience. And today, she has become a dominant figure in the entrepreneurial scene in Norway. Her story is quite impressive. And what is more impressive is that Raya is passionate about helping other entrepreneurs and startups grow. She believes that anyone, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, can make a name for yourself professionally and thrive if you have the right resources to do so. I mean, at Diversify, we love people and women who are forces of nature, and Raya is exactly this. Her can-do attitude is contagious, so we definitely look forward to hearing and learning from her today. So a few things before we start. So we all know that we can chat, we can type in questions onto the chat since it's a bit different platform now, and we will try to answer the questions as much as possible. And by the end of this segment, we will also put together an article that we will send to you by Monday at latest. And this video, this session will also be recorded so you can rewatch it at a later point. So now we'll get down to business. We will hear from our guest of honor, Raya. So Raya, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and also your new role at the factory as CEO of the Factory Academy?
Thank you. Thank you for this very warm intro. I'm a bit humbled. So a little bit about myself. Yes, 5 years ago, I left Switzerland with my husband, who was Norwegian and wanted to move to Norway. And I left my career in private banking to just give it a try, because I really wanted to start my own business. I've been trying in the past, but failing a lot, not having the right network, not knowing what to do, how to do, where to start, just being lost. But I really wanted to do something for myself, because I like the idea to be able to turn ideas into something material, concretize it. And I believe that as humans, that's what we're here to do. All around us, you can see people that have created this world, whether it's a house or a business or even people. You know, people create other people. So we are creators. And I was wondering, how can I myself create the life I want? How can I myself create the business I want, can I give back to the world? Can I impact the world? Can I shape the world? Because I see things that I don't like. I see things that I find unfair. So what can I do? So when I came to Norway, I didn't know, I have like some dust around me. When I came to Norway, I didn't know anyone. I didn't speak the language and I'm still not there yet. And I didn't have any entrepreneurial background, but I really wanted to connect with people like me. So I make friends and learn from them and basically get exposed to.
Can everyone please mute themselves? Thank you.
Sorry, I just joined. I'm sorry.
No worries. No worries. So basically, as I was giving just an intro about myself when I came to Norway, and basically, I can say that I'm really happy that I can tell people now my story to also inspire them and show them that it's possible. It's possible to go from an idea to create a business, to onboard people, to have clients, to have big clients. My first biggest client was Danske Bank. To then actually follow your vision and create something that is completely aligned with what you want to, how you want to contribute in the world, whatever you want to create. So this is me, and today, after the last 5 years working actively with entrepreneurs, because this is the target audience, these are the people I want to help. I want to help anyone with an idea to turn it into a profitable, scalable, sustainable business, so they can free themselves from a system, so they can create the life they want, so they can have the lifestyle they want, and so on. This is what I've been doing, and today with the factory, I keep on doing it. And we have launched now, given the situation, we have launched 3 online accelerators with an online setup, so we can keep online helping entrepreneurs create great businesses.
Okay, fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit more as to how we can, say, for people who are interested, access the Factory Academy, and just a little bit more about that?
So a little bit about the factory itself.
Yeah.
The factory is an accelerator. So an accelerator is a program it depends from an accelerator to another, but let's say it's 2 to 3 months intensive program where we take founders, entrepreneurs at an idea stage or MVP, minimum viable product stage, or a company that has a little product, but we help them accelerate their path and their growth during a short period of time. So we provide them with guidance, with structure, with advisors, with mentors, with experts who share their marketing strategies, their business strategies, with lawyers who can support them with contract templates, with legal advice. And at the end, we also invest in some of them. So we provide, at the factory, we provide company startups with network, knowledge, tools, and funding. And we have, we are specialized in fintech, PropTech, and retail companies. So fintech, it's anything related to financial technologies, PropTech, property management technology, for example, or related to real estate or smart cities, and retail, retail tech. So this is our specialty. However, now we have launched an online accelerator program called Gründer Academy, and Gründer Academy is there to help any founder, and it's for free. So the other, we have 3 online programs where we help entrepreneurs and accelerate their growth. We have one that is
Haya, you just mute yourself, sorry. We cannot hear you. Thank you.
This is funny because I didn't touch my computer. So thank you. So basically, at the factory, we accelerate companies. And right now, given the situation, we have moved all the activities, the meeting we do, the workshops we host, we have moved it online because we still have founders who need our support. We still have companies who need our support. And now we have 3 accelerator programs, one for startups and scale-ups in the field that we invest in, and one that is completely open to everyone, to any founder with an idea that they want to test. that they want to turn into a business. It's open, available. It's called Reader Academy, and we can share the link later.
Yes, I will be sharing that link and more information about the Gründer Academy with the articles that we send, and also the follow-up email that we send to this. So just to get down to some questions, Raya, can you talk a little bit about, so you came from corporate to entrepreneurship, just out of the blue decided, you know, this is not for me, I want to become an entrepreneur. Can you speak a little bit to the skills that you have used or the skills that you transferred from the corporate world into entrepreneurship?
I'm not sure that it's skills, but it's understanding. So from the corporate, working in a big bank, I was exposed to situations where decision-making processes were very slow, where innovation was not happening, where it was not the priority. Until they were making money, there was no urgency in finding new solutions, in finding better ways to be sustainable or make more money, even as long as the business was going, just like we were doing the last 50 years. And I used to work within banks. So that's like very heavy processed structures that you just don't come and manipulate or come with your initiative and change. So when going into the startup world, I was also collaborating with large companies. In Norway, more companies, bigger companies, were interested in connecting with startups, in learning from startups. In Switzerland, where I come from, companies were not so interested in that. But here in Norway, actually, it was on my favor that I had that background. So working with large companies, such as today, Nordea, or in the past, when my first client was Danske Bank, I could understand what they were going through. I was speaking the same language. So I understood the politics inside, I understood the priorities, I understood their agenda, I understood their goals. So I think that that's what I actually was very beneficial for me. Working before in a big company, I could just adjust and adapt. Maybe if I was not an ex-corporate, I would just go to them and be frustrated. Why don't you make decisions so fast? Why are you wasting my time? I need, I'm an entrepreneur. We don't have the same power. There's like sometimes some power struggles when you are dealing with large companies because you're small, you're on your own, and in front of you, you have a giant. But having that corporate background helped me actually adjust, understand them, and get them also to understand the startup ecosystem and me as a small company.
Okay. So I guess we're all here. I assume that as we're all here, everyone here has a passion. There's something that pushes them. There's something they drive for, and they want to create something out of that. But what does it really take to turn an idea into a business? And what if that idea is not unique? What if it's they are expert knitters? They can make the most beautiful sweaters. Or what if they want to become a coach? What if they run an NGO? How can people still grow that business and secure customers?
Well, that's going to be a long answer.
No pressure.
Long answer. Well, okay. There are many things I can say here. Is that you have to how to be different basically when you have competition. And it's going to sound cheesy, but it's really true. You have to be yourself. You have to be authentic. You have to be transparent. Basically, you have to show yourself, and this is how people will relate to you, understand you. So I like to say that we are not in the B2B business, we are not in the B2C, we're in the human to human. Nowadays, there's so much content. There's so many different companies doing the same thing, but it is okay. It shows actually that there is a market for it. So take it as something positive. Don't look at the competition. I actually never look at the competition. I am my own competition. I have my vision. I know how to execute. It's about getting in touch with my clients, listening to my clients, being close to my clients, hearing them instead of going to them and pitching to sell. I'm here to actually listen to them because maybe I can adapt, I can adjust. They can tell me, my clients or your customers or your users will tell you what they need, will tell you what they would pay for. So don't look at the others, stick to your vision. An example is, I hear often entrepreneurs or early stage founders say, I don't want to share my idea. I don't want to talk about my idea. The other people will steal it from me. And to me, this is a mistake. Because even if you share your idea, the way you will execute both of you on the idea will be different, especially if you are aligned with yourself, especially if it's aligned with your vision, if you follow your gut feeling, if you follow your own strategy. From the starting point, if the two of you have the same idea, it will split like this, because you are different, because you're gonna get in touch with different people, because you are going to hire different people. So it is okay to share ideas. Plus, honestly, if somebody executes on it and you have not executed on it, this is not the problem of you sharing the idea. It's because you have not executed on it. So don't fear sharing ideas. That's the opposite. The more you share about what you want to do, the more you get better actually at onboarding people into your vision, at selling as well, because the people you will meet will tell you, I don't understand this. Why do you do it like this? Who would buy it from you? How do you do the process? You know, and it's going to get you to think about all these things. And maybe when you meet somebody and you tell him about your idea, this person is going to connect you to a potential partner, another team member, to a CTO, to an investor. Of course, I'm not telling you here to just like open your books and say, this is how I'm going to do it. But I'm telling you that it's okay to share. Don't fear competition. There is no competition because competition is everywhere already. So just be authentic, be yourself, be structured, have your strategy, have your goals, how you are going to reach your goals, what are your KPIs, your key performance indicators, how are you going to convert your clients. This is what you should focus on. Don't waste your energy on focusing on others, because you are not, your energy should be focused on your business, not on the others.
So thank you for that. I think it's a fantastic way to think about it. And one of the things I've also learned from my journey, both in corporate and in entrepreneurism, if I can call it that, is that it really comes down to differentiation. And the fact that you have an idea, realistically, it means there are hundreds of thousands of people who already have that idea. They've just not executed it. And I love, I read a book some years ago by Richard Branson about when he was trying to start Virgin Atlantic. A lot of people told him, you know, that, oh, but you're competing with British Airways. What are you going to do that is different? And what he did that was different was customer service. It was the same brand, the same way, well, it's airplanes more or less, but customer service was better. So that brought him more customers than British Airways. So, you know, it's always about differentiating your offering, even if it's one tiny thing. So yes, Raya, thank you for that. I think it's a fantastic feedback. So my next question is, in your experience, because you've worked with how many startups, give or take?
Honestly, I mean, uncountable. I'm the first year in Norway, I was every month meeting 50 companies, and I was just providing services for free, my advice for free, for me to also get to understand the market, understand the needs of the entrepreneurs. So I was doing a lot of pro bono work and helping a lot. Then with the hub.no, you know, it was 100,000 users that we had, because I launched nowadays called the hub.io in Norway, which is still a platform to help startups recruit. And so not only online, we were helping them by helping them get access to candidates and recruit, but also was getting a lot of emails to review pitch decks, to connect them to investors, to coach them as well for their pitches. So I've been helping a lot. And of course, at the factory, we have startups we have invested in, and startups who have been part of the accelerator program that we've done last fall. That's when I joined. And yeah, it's 10 companies that we are in touch with and that we work closely with to coach and help accelerate the growth.
Yeah. Okay.
So we a lot.
So we can basically say, I mean, I believe that Raya is to a large degree an authority on this next question I'm about to ask. So my question to you is,
no pressure.
What common mistakes do you think that people make when you're starting businesses? What are the common mistakes?
A big mistake that I see often but I'm happy to know that it's a mistake that can be solved easily, is that people build, okay? They are going to invest money in creating something because it's reassuring to have something, and then they think the client will buy into this product or service because it's there, it exists. And I think that's the biggest mistake you can do as a founder. Unless you, and not even, I was going to say, unless you are creating like a health tech company that requires something heavy to build, but actually you should be able to sell your vision, have clients, have commitments, have agreements in place, letters of intent, for example, before structuring, building something. Because the risk you take is that you invest money, you invest time in creating something that you're not sure the market needs, one, but two, you're not even sure that you can sell. This is what I see a lot, especially, but actually with a lot of profiles, but especially with the technical people, programmers or engineers who have the skill. They have that advantage that they can build and create. But then they're going to do it for 2 years. And they're going to come to you and you say, okay, so this is great. And when are we launching? Oh, no, I need 6 more months. Why? I need to add this feature and this one. No, you don't. And actually, how much have you invested in terms of money in this? Oh, I put my savings. Oh my God. And how long have you been working on this? 2 years, 6 months. I'm like, oh my God, you should be able to create a landing page, right? Or a presentation, a PDF. I've done that myself. With our company, my company, last year, we sold our program based on a presentation, PowerPoint, that's it. And we were making money enough to cover our costs, and we were happy and we could move on. We did not build anything before selling it. So that's my biggest advice, is that you can actually sell, you can make money, just like you buy a plane ticket, right? You don't have it, it's in 6 months. Or you buy a concert ticket, or you buy something online. You actually don't know if it's produced. You don't know. You're going to get it in 3 months. The camera you ordered online, you're going to get it in a few weeks. You have no idea. So do the same with your customers. Make money first. Get them to buy into your vision. And that's going to be, the sooner you do it, the better your pitch will get, as I already said. The more feedback you get, you might change your product. Realize that actually, if I just add this to my product, if I tell them that I'm going to be adding this, you don't even have to do it. If I tell them I'm going to add this, I can sell them at this price. But of course, you have to execute on that. You have to be able to execute on that. This is why when you have an idea, there are a few things that you need to have in place from the beginning. The why you're doing it. Because this is your story. People want to buy into your story. They want to buy into why you're doing it, but also the deepest why. And I'm very serious about that. This is how you're going to be different from your competition. It's not anymore about buy this phone because it has great features. All the brands have the same features. But if you say, buy this phone because actually this is sustainable. We have put our heart in it. We want to have the future generation of kids navigate the space of internet, whatever, Here you're touching people's feelings, You're talking about empowering people, kids, the future generations. So be different. What is your why? What is your story? So we start with this. And this, you don't have to have a product before doing this. So the why, the what? What's your product? How? You have to figure that out. You don't have to communicate, but you have to figure that out. How? Who you're doing this with? Who is it for? When is it going to be delivered? An example. If you are creating some clothes, okay, you just need to know. You have the story. You need to know how you're doing it yourself. The factory, the textile, the colors. You need to know when you're going to be able to deliver. And to be honest, it's always possible to tell to your clients who you sold it to say, I'm sorry, we are delayed. I'm very sorry. This was not planned because of the factory. Something happened. If it's the case, right? So I'm just sharing this with you to tell you that it's very important to sell first because you need money, you need cash in your business. I've done this mistake myself when I was launching an online platform 4 years ago. for entrepreneurs, which became later the hub.io. So I was basically running out of money. I put my savings, and I was also doing another mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs do is talk about the idea. You know, you want to get approvals. You know, you want people to tell you it's good. You want advice. At some point, the only people who matter, it's your clients. Okay, so stop asking advice. The market will tell you if there is a need or not. And if people can pay for it, go for it. Get money in first. What else can I say? Yes, and the mistake I also made is, which is a funny mistake, is that I didn't want investors. Okay, I did not want investors, and then I finally got investors when it was too late. I was burned out. So really, cash is king, or cash is queen. Make cash, make money as soon as possible, and the best money is from clients. So you don't have to give equity, and it's going to be the market who's going to tell you if your idea is great or if it sucks or if it needs to get better. And the more you talk to clients, the better your idea and your pitch and your sales pitch will get.
Okay, thank you for that. I should make note though that there might be some projects or some ideas that does not require investments. Yeah. But if you have an idea that requires investment, then of course it's really helpful to have investments early on. And what also comes with investments is you can also get soft capital, which is like brain. So investors, people who've been in business, can continue to give you feedback on your process. But I'm keeping an eye on the questions, so I figured I could ask some questions that relate to what you're talking about now. And the other questions I can move to the Q&A session. Marte shall start. I'm so sorry if I just destroyed your name. She said, wouldn't it be better if maybe you have a rough draft to base the pitch and selling points on, so the clients know what they are buying into?
Oh yeah, so let me read it myself. Would it be better to maybe have a rough draft to base the pitch and selling points on, so the clients? Of course, yeah. So this is like a PDF presentation, right? That's what you mean, Marta. Of course, I think that's the least you should have, definitely, because it materializes it. It makes it also real. And it's a great base to have a discussion, and definitely, that's what I've done myself, based on a pitch deck or a PDF presentation or a rough draft to sell your idea. Definitely, it's enough.
Okay, so I mean, in this conversation, we've already talked about, go to your customers. Your clients are the ones that matter. But people are wondering, how do I actually get customers? How do I find them? How do I reach out to them? Can you speak more to this?
Well, it depends on your business. But first, who are your customers? You should be able to know who are your customers. If it's moms, if it's associations, NGOs, if it's banks, you need to find out first who is the target audience. And then, honestly, it's about reaching out. So there are different ways to reach out, different ways to build relationships. One way, and based on my own examples, how we do business as well, I use LinkedIn. I seriously use LinkedIn. So, for example, my LinkedIn profile is very clear on what I do. So people who have, like, who wonder why is she connecting with us, I actually put the words that people I want to connect to relate to, okay? That if you work, for example, with an organization that is helping NGOs, in your LinkedIn profile or on your website, you need to make it very clear what they would get by getting in touch with you, who you are, and so on and so on. So I use LinkedIn, I contact people I don't know, and I tell them why I'm contacting them. That's a great way. And I've booked meetings this way. Other ways is to, for example, like we did at the hub.io, our users were businesses, startups.
That's why they're based in Norway.
Can you please remove your microphone? Mute your microphone. Okay. So another way is basically really there's no magic. It's not rocket science. It's about finding who your clients are and contacting them. When we were at the hub.io, we found a list of startups in Norway. You find that on Innovation Norway, on Proof.no, you know, all the where they are registered. You find that on other websites where other companies present the list of startups, and you go contact them. So you find their email and you contact them. This is as simple as that. So there is this way of direct reach out, grabbing the phone. You grab the phone. Nobody does that anymore these days, but you might get in. And if they don't pick up, follow up with a message, follow up with an email. Just do it. Just do it. Another way is to reach out on social media, build a community, create value for the community. You can do it for free. You create a Facebook page, you create a group. I've done it myself. This is how I built my network in Norway, and I grew my community, which we use later on also for the hub.io. Give back, create value for people, connect with them, get to know your users, get to know your clients. And then after you give back, get them involved in the process of creating a product, a service for them. And then you have engaged customers. So there are plenty of ways, but first figure out who are your customers, and honestly, just get in touch with them. Tell them, and it's okay to get some people upset to be contacted. It's okay if they don't reply. Have a pitch ready, make it valuable for the one who's getting the pitch. You know, tell them what they want to hear. Why should they get back to you? And always think about creating value. If you have a Facebook group, invite people, but create also content that is relevant for your target audience. Like you do, create online content that is relevant for your target audience. So again, just like I mentioned earlier, it's about the execution. How can you get in touch with your community, your users, your clients, and to do it?
Okay, thank you. One of the things we like to say when it comes to contacting people is that the worst thing anyone will say to you is no. And the world does not end, you know, like, so what? They say no, okay, bye, next guy. But you might be surprised, and oftentimes people will say yes. So, I mean, it doesn't really hurt to try. But this actually was a good segue into my next question about what is the best way to get people to pay for your product or your idea? So now we know that we can reach out, but how do we get them to pay for it?
How do we get them to pay for it? So I think you have to really figure out the problem they would pay for it. So that's also something very important that founders forget. Are they solving a real problem, a problem worth paying for? So your clients, this is why your idea might change, might adapt. This is why it's very important to talk to your client. So figure out when you approach them, if the problem you're exposing is actually relevant to them. Are they facing that problem? And what are they doing currently to solve that problem? What are the alternatives on the market? What would be for them the perfect scenario? I often ask this question, you know, what if I could help them? I ask, how can I help you? As simple as that, seriously. How can I help you? And they tell you, this is as simple. They tell you, you know, I wish I could do this. I wish I could have this. Okay. So then you would, if I give you this and it's at this price, would you find it interesting? Because I can do it. So it's about solving a problem people would pay for.
Okay, so I'm just going to push you on this a little bit. Yes, so we're solving a problem that people want to pay for, people should pay for. But a lot of entrepreneurs have the experience that people want their services for free, maybe to test it, for them to prove themselves. And even when they are willing to pay, they want to pay a tiny fraction. And then it gets difficult when they're growing, if they want to increase their prices, because then previous clients could be like, well, you charged me 100 NOK then, why are you charging me 500 now? So how do we navigate this, you know, like funny place?
It's about the value you create. So you can have a free product, for example, free content for the community, webinars, articles, an email list that you provide regularly with updates on the trends or what's happening in the industry. this is for free. You can also provide a free product that doesn't cost you much, but really is nice for the client to get to know you. So you have to figure out what can be there for the client to test, and what is your product that you will make money from. You had another question, the second question.
So like how to navigate this funny space, and just so you do not end up in a situation where even if you have a free product, but you really should be pricing it at say 900 NOK.
Yeah, and also as you mentioned, what happens when you increase the price? So I don't have issues with that because you increase also the value of the client. You can justify it saying, okay, but at that price, you had this. Today, for this price, this is what I'm doing for you. This is the offering. You won't have that in the previous package. So it's about maybe categorizing your offering and knowing that this is for free, whether it's a product or a content or 15-minute coaching, online coaching, 15-minute advice, 20, for example, minutes, you know. Just categorize what are your products and don't fear, you know, we also have to be comfortable with what we do. And myself, when I was also doing coaching, I priced in the beginning myself quite like reasonable, you know, or low. And then at some point, you know, it's your level of tolerance with yourself, or, you know, how much you're like, no, but this is not fair. Even for myself, I'm not going to price myself at that price. I mean, I'm creating so much value. I'm saving these people I coach time, money, you know, failure. I'm accelerating them instead of them spending 1 year figuring out everything on their own. I connect them to investors. I advise them. I really help them grow their business in 2 months instead of 6-7 months and avoid mistakes. So what's the worth of that? How do you quantify that? And at some point, you just know that, okay, if I put in 1 hour of my time doing this, if I'm paid 500 NOK or 1,000 NOK, I'm not satisfied myself. So what would be my price? How much do I price myself? And this is different from a person to another, from a product to another. And one of my friends used to tell me, because I asked this question myself in the past, and she told me, she said, the price that is right is the price that hurts, okay? So when you feel it's uncomfortable to give that price, that's the right price. And I tell you, I've done that. When I go into a meeting and I'm like, you know, this is out of my comfort zone, but you know, this is the worth. This is what it's worth. So I'm gonna give that price and let's see how it goes. And if the client wants to negotiate, that's fine. We will find something together. But at least you need to price yourself and not underestimate what you bring on the table. And don't look, it's always good to look at, to benchmark yourself and look at the competition, but you're also, again, different from the competition. And you can create different value. So don't look at the competition. You have like, I'm taking, for example, coaching. So many people are into online coaching. I'm sure that some coaches for 1 hour, and you know that you don't, it's not even I'm sure, for 1 hour, they're going to charge maybe 9,000 NOK. The same, another coach will charge 2,000 NOK. But I'm pretty sure in terms of, you know, value, maybe, I'm not saying always, but some of them might create the same value. So know your worth.
Yeah, if I could also add to that, when I was starting out with my consulting company, I had the same struggles. And I think oftentimes the fear we have with asking for the right price are also based on the limitations we set for ourselves. Because I recall the one time when I thought I was bold enough to ask what was uncomfortable, and I did, and my client said yes. And after a couple of months, we became friends. We went out one day, drank way too many wine. So I did ask. I said, how much actually were you willing to pay? And he said 3 times as much. So, you know, yeah. But this was actually also a great segue into my next question on pricing. So now we say, yes, you need to price what you're worth. How do you actually calculate what you're worth? Just in systematic terms. And if you run your own company.
So it's, as I said, you know, if you have no money, if there is no cash, you die. as a business, seriously. You cannot go running without any money during 9 months or 6 months or whatever. If you don't have cash, you're going to close the business, as simple as that. So, of course, you need to cover some costs. You need to be aware of the costs you have, the running cost of your company. You need to know if you need a salary in the beginning, you need to be able to cover that. So you need to have these costs in place and in mind. And when you are pricing a client, creating your price, you need to know how many clients you need to have to cover your cost and be sustainable. So it's mathematics. It's mathematics. Especially these days, there is no more time. There is no more time nowadays, today, with the situation. And it has been in the past as well, but now even more, where you just take time in, maybe I make money in 9 months. Maybe the environment is changing so fast. So if you want to make this idea happen, if you want to have your business, a real business, serious business, if you want to have your own company, grow it, hire people, create the vision you want for this world, contribute, know your cost, cover your cost, know how many clients you need to have, know how much money you need to make, and that's simple mathematics. On Gründer Academy, we have a module called Financials. Again, Gründer Academy is for free. So on Gründer Academy, we have modules that help you figure out your why, create a vision that sells, create a vision that help you onboard new team members, new clients, partners, investors. We have modules on go-to-market strategies, actually how to launch, how to sell before building. I'm not inventing anything. We have modules on how to pitch. We have modules on financials, you know, exactly, business modeling, business plans, costs, running costs, how to figure this out. We have that available for you. We have a module on legal fundamentals, the legal contract you need to have in place when having a team member, shareholder agreement, when creating the company. So this is what we created to help exactly solve all these questions we all have in the beginning. Because myself, I've been doing this one-on-one coaching with everyone, and I figured out that I'm just repeating myself with everyone. So why don't we just create something online, one video, very condensed, very intense, but it gives you everything you need to help you structure and start going. We can cover that in Gründer Academy. It's covered.
And we'll make sure to also include the link in the message you get from us afterwards.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add to that as well, that I think you make fantastic points, and that it's also important to think of yourself as a business and not just an individual, because maybe your individual fee is 1,000 NOK an hour. However, if you run a business, you have to keep in mind, imagine if you were a big company. What about electricity? What about rent? So all of this must factor into your cost. And especially if you're freelancing, you do not know when the next project is going to come. So you have to hedge that risk. So that's one of the things I learned in my journey as well, to think of myself as a company rather than an individual. And if you grow the way Raya is telling you that you can, then it means that you're going to hire employees, you're going to have a team, and you're responsible for them as well. So something to keep in mind.
So when I had my first client 4 years ago, Danske Bank, in the budget, I did exactly what you mentioned. I actually put my salary, we had a 1-year contract, renewable. So I put my salary, I put my pension, I put my insurance, I put my accounting cost, because I had an accountant, I didn't want to have an account to do my own accounting. I put everything that I needed to be a business, even if I was one person in the beginning. But then what happened? We needed to be 2. So I'm happy I had an accountant. I'm happy that I had everything for the pension and insurances in place as a company and covered, because I had employees all of a sudden. So very good point. Think about yourself as a business from the start. And when you contact clients, when you negotiate with clients, you protect your own interest. You have your own interest in mind. You cannot go down under a certain amount per month, because if you do, you cannot provide the service anymore the next month to the client, because you don't exist anymore, because you have to go get a job, a second job, who knows? So think about yourself.
Yes. Okay, so my next question is for people who are freelancers, or sorry, who are not freelancers, or who need a team to survive. So we're talking about, think of yourself as a big as a business, and ideally a big business, because that way you're projecting what you want into the future. But we know that having the right team can make or break a company. So how do we go about building sustainable and qualified teams? And what type of work culture can we implement to ensure that the business survive, and also to ensure that your teammates have ownership of the business?
Complex question. Where do I start? So let's break down this question. Okay, question number one, please repeat.
Okay, so for those of us who want to build a business that requires teams,
Yeah.
How can we go about building sustainable and qualified teams?
Okay. So I would say that before hiring, just because I've been there myself, I've done these mistakes, and I can talk from experience and also seeing other businesses doing the right things and the wrong things sometimes. So recruit when you need people, okay? Don't start recruiting just to have a team, just to do more. Master what you're doing. And when you need more, because all of a sudden you need actually a social media manager, you need you need somebody to support your business as a CTO or as a business developer or a salesperson or an intern, then start hiring. But hire slow and fire fast. Okay, that's a saying that we have in the startup community. So take time in hiring the right people, because hiring the wrong people, it's time consuming. It's mistakes that can be made that can jeopardize your business. I've been there as well. Be very careful in hiring. Get to know the people, date them, like I like to say, which is like a dating period where you get to know each other, you know, the personalities, how you solve problems before starting to really get them involved in the company as shareholders, for example. That's one advice. And when things are not going well, don't wait. You need to fire, because you're a small business. If you have toxic people around you, it's not only going to impact your business, it's going to impact you. And you're the founder, you're the leader. If you're impacted, nothing will move. So hire people when you really need them. Take time in hiring. Test the relationship, if you get along, if you can solve problems together, if you communicate well. And then when it doesn't go well, no hard feelings, no, just remove the relationship quickly.
Actually, how do you have that conversation? Because I mean, for me, I know how, but I come from a culture that likes conflict. Now, if you come from a culture that is averse to conflict, especially say like in Norway, for example, how do you have that conversation where you're like, sorry, I don't hate you, but you can't work here?
It is business. We're talking about business here. We're not like about a relationship, you know. There is structure it from the beginning. Be clear from the beginning. Say that there is a test period of 3-4 months, and after 4 months we evaluate the relationship. We evaluate if you have reached your goal, if there is chemistry between us. If you have, this is also, it's good to have KPIs, key performance indicators, to see if actually the new person on board is performing or not. So have that discussion up front. Be honest, be clear. And then when time comes, you evaluate the relationship and you say, okay, this is actually going great. Let's formalize it, or let's keep on working together. Let's renew the contract for 1 year or 6 months, whatever you feel comfortable with. And if not, I've been there as well myself. If not, you sit down and you say, I'm really sorry, but this is not working. We are slow right now, or I feel that I need to be alone, or just my team, my core team, we need to lay off people. That's as simple as, this is a communication.
Okay, so then to my second question was, what type of work culture can we implement to ensure survival of business? So now we're talking about, like, of course, you could have toxic teammates that you need to let go, but how do you create an enabling culture that makes, you know, like the the secretary feels like this is my company, you know, I need to see this work. How does that work?
Well, I can only speak from my experience and how also we work at the factory. And I think this is I would say how most of the startups should work. You cannot micromanage when you're a small company. You need to find people who can take responsibility. You need to give them ownership on a project, on task, and let them lead. Because we don't have a lot of time, because we need to move fast, because we need people with leadership skill who can take a project and move forward. This is the type of profile you need to have at the beginning. Maybe the first 3-4 founders are like that, actually. The CTO needs to take ownership on his project. The CEO is in charge of management. The CMO is in charge of marketing. So I would say, based on my experience, you give ownership, you trust, you have goals that they need to reach, something that you can quantify and follow up on. And just let them do it and see how it goes.
Okay, so when you were talking now, I started thinking about how do we actually choose the right people in the first place? You know, because anyone can design a beautiful CV, right? So how do you make that connection? Is it a combination of what they have on their CV and how you feel? How do you make that decision when you build teams?
You know, I remember now one of my the first girl that I hired when I was at the hub.io. She was my nanny. Okay, so she was my nanny, and I was going to have a full-time nanny at home. She could not do that, but she told me, you know, I heard that you are looking for someone at the hub. You know, I have a master in English, I have a master in management, and maybe I can help. And I've been seeing her the way she was as a nanny. She had no experience in the task I was going to give her. She had no social media background. At the university, I didn't have any social media background. She didn't have any operational background. She was straight from university, but I could see her personality. First, I was getting along with her. She was taking directions quite well. She was very responsible with my baby, okay? I could trust her. And we had this dating period where she was at home and I could see how she was changing the baby, taking leadership and initiative. So when she suggested it, I didn't look at her CV. I actually didn't know. She told me, you know, actually I can do it. You know, I have a master's degree. But my master's degree, I don't feel that it's really relevant to what I'm doing right now. I mean, I was not told about social media. I didn't study entrepreneurship. So I value more the personality. I value the leadership skills. I really value the initiative and that you're a go-getter person, that you're not scared. I value that. I love people who are not scared, because who cares if you don't do it right the first time? You're going to get better. You're not scared of failing. So I would say the first hire is about chemistry. It's about, can you trust this person? And are you complementary? It's important to be complementary. You don't hire somebody who can be the CEO if you're the CEO, because I had that case. I had someone who could be CEO, and then what happens? We are two CEOs. You know, that doesn't work. And you're like, okay, so we are going to follow my vision or your vision. So be complementary and find people you can trust, with whom also you can build a long-term vision, that are there not for the next 6 months, but because you're going to invest time in training them, in sharing your valuable assets, your knowledge, your network, your brain, your IP. So even if you have agreements in place about how to protect your intellectual property, you are letting go this person if this person is not there to commit on the long term with your valuable assets.
Yeah, thank you. No, thank you for that. I mean, I think it's all just, it's true. And I think that one of the reasons why we're putting this series together is that there are a lot of people with drive and hunger who have, you know, they can learn. They learn while standing. They think on their feet, but they let something as simple as, I don't have a business background, hold them back. You know, so listen to what Raya is saying, you know, like if you have the right stuff, you can learn everything as you go. You can learn by doing.
If you have the right mindset, seriously, in my life as a corporate and also as an entrepreneur, I was given opportunities and I created opportunities that I've never done before. And I always said, yes, I will figure it out. What I was excited about was new challenges. So this is why I kept on moving. In the corporate world, I was moving very fast. Every year, new position, higher position, more interesting. And in my life, the last 5 years as an entrepreneur, advisor, coach, and investor, this is what I've been doing as well. When I launched the Hub.io with Danske Bank, do you think I've done that before, scaling an online product? No. But I was like there, yes, I can do it. When at the factory, they hired me as head of fintech. Was I a head of fintech before? No, I was not. When I was offered the position as CEO at the factory accelerators, did I do that before? I did it, but at a smaller scale, not comparable. But I say, yes, I can. And I've been showing that I could do it all along the way with my vision, my input, my leadership skills, my initiatives, my personality, just being myself, really. Like I sometimes when with the team, I was like, maybe I'm too bold, maybe I'm too direct. And I told this to the CEO of the company, the factory, Ingar. I told him once, I said, I'm a bit too direct, I feel like maybe I'm shaking sometimes some people and systems, and should I change? I don't want to be, I just arrived at that time, and he was like, no, don't change, just be yourself. So just be yourself. And if an organization doesn't accept you the way you are, you need to get out of that organization, because the moment you're going to be yourself with your personality, with your ideas, being bold if you are bold, being fearless if you are fearless, being creative if you are creative, when you have found your place, you're going to just like, how do we say that in English? Excel, You're just going to be your best version. And so just be yourself with your clients, be yourself at work, and never shrink, never slow down yourself.
Thank you for that. Just a few comments. Laura says, some recruiters I have talked to said that they value a lot the personality, that the skills kind of degree, or than the skills or kind of degree, because it is easier to learn a skill than change your personality. And Norma says, higher attitude train skills. So yes, all great. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so I just want to talk quickly about compensation. So when you're building teams and you don't have money, or you have money, maybe you can pay a salary, or if you don't have money, you can pay equity. How does that work? Because some people struggle with this. Is it too early to give out equity in my company? Do I have money to pay them what they're worth? Can you speak a bit to this?
Yeah, it's really like any relationship. When you meet someone, do you want to commit to this person or not? Do you want more time? Some people take 5 years before getting married. Some people never get married, find arrangements without commitments. So sometimes you meet your founder and you want to, get married on contract, be 50-50 or whatever, 51-49. Sometimes you're like, I would rather hire you, okay? Give you a salary. Oh, but I don't have money, okay? So there are also ways to structure the company. Maybe this person, if you don't have money, you have to give something. So either you give equity if you have a company in place. You have also what is called vested shares, which is the person you on board as shareholder gets their share along the way, every 6 months, for example. And when they leave the company, you can always put that in contract that they can sell back, give back the shares. So there are structures in place. And when you are at a very early stage, I would advise that you test the relationship, as I said, and get interns. Interns that you can turn into employees later on, for example. But interns, there is no much commitment. You decide to create something together. In exchange, you can give them network, you can give them access to the knowledge, you can give them access to the experience, the opportunity. So I had interns, non-paid interns as well in the past. I also had business partners that we agreed that if we launch the company, we will be together with this amount of equity and so on. So either you have interns and you need to give something, the experience, for example, opening a network, giving knowledge on certain industry, helping them find a job after you, or a salary if you can, or equity, or you decide to work together a little bit before giving equity. It's like a market. You offer something, they offer something, and you adjust in the middle. Do they accept your offer? What would it require to accept this offer? I had people that I wanted to hire when I could not pay them, and they told me, no, I need a salary. Then it doesn't work. As simple as that. Next.
Okay, thank you. So we're about to round up the question segment, at least from me, and then we can take questions from everyone. But in your experience, why do new businesses fail?
Why they fail?
Yes.
Well, many things can happen, many reasons, personal, familial, business-wise. But I would say the biggest mistake, as we said in the beginning, it's that people fear to sell. People don't sell quick enough. It's not fast enough, it's even quick enough. They don't go to market quick enough. They don't know, they just build or imagine that the customer wants their product because it's so beautiful, it's so nice, it has so many features, but it doesn't matter if there is nobody to buy it. It's like what you mentioned that at the very beginning, you said, oh, if someone has a great product, but if nobody knows about your product because you're hiding it, you're working on it so much, like an engineer in his basement, just creating this innovation. If nobody knows about it, you know, how can you keep on going? How can you survive? How can you monetize on it?
Okay, thank you. And last question from me would be, so we all have different business ideas, you know, some are big, some are small, some are tech enabled, some are not. What is there a thread that connects all these businesses? Are there tools or key items that each business needs, no matter what you are, no matter how you're trying to grow?
Yeah, but I think that's what we created with actually the Factory Academy. This is why we came up with standardized modules, tools, contract templates, business templates, because that's the base. That's the base to create a sustainable, profitable, scalable business. All this knowledge that we have structured in modules on the communication, helping you with the communication, helping you with selling, helping you with going to market, helping you with pitching, with your legal contract, with your business plan, and figuring out your financials. So it's not only one thing, one thread. It's different things that needs to be in place. And this is what we want to do with the Factory Academy.
Okay, thank you. Again, we will include the link to the Factory Academy. I encourage all of you to join. It's free, and you can also receive some free coaching. So this also answers Rashmi's question. So take advantage of the resources that are available to you. Yes.
There is a comment I would like to read. So Jenny says, I disagree with the free intern part. No one should be working for free, no matter what you give them in return. If someone really wants to work for you, you should be honest from the beginning, a minimum to be able to cover. Yeah, of course. But as I said, it's about adjusting to each other. I had free interns, but not free interns, unpaid interns, but in exchange, I was giving a lot. I was training them in starting their own business, for example. I was coaching them. So it's always about what you give. Of course, it's not about taking advantage of anything. Nobody will accept to be taken advantage of if they feel they're not getting anything in return. So some do it for their CV. Some do it because they want content for themselves to show to future employers or clients. Like I had videographers I worked with. When I could pay, I paid. Like I paid my previous videographer to make modules. But before that, 4 years ago, I could not pay the first videographer I had because I wasn't myself trying. So we agreed, like, if I make money, I will give you some. So it's about finding what is the agreement between you.
And I think also just knowing yourself and knowing what your expectations are. I think that even when you're looking to, because I know a lot of people have this in struggles in Norway where they really want a job, and a lot of companies know they really want a job. So they do sometimes take advantage and say, okay, work for me for free and we'll see how things go. So you also have to know what your limit is. I do agree that there's no such thing as free work because it's a give and take. That, you know, if I am able to, I will provide at the minimum, say, transportation and food costs. If I'm not able to, then I'm not going to bring you So it just, you have to state what
Yeah.
you need and what your requirements are.
And myself, I worked for free in the past, like I've done it for organizations. And there is one, I remember one particular organization where I was working for free and I just didn't feel, I felt rewarded. I didn't feel rewarded. So what did I do? I quit, as simple as that. And I went to another organization with whom I worked for free, but I felt I was getting something out of it. I was getting a network. I was getting access to new ways of working, tools, understanding how the startup ecosystem works. So I made the most of this experience, and that was clear. And this person who hired me was not covering my cost, but I was really making the most of the experience. So it's about, you know, are you this person in front of you as an intern? What do you give them? And not everything is monetized.
Definitely. Okay, so now we're going to take some questions that has been written down. I encourage everyone, if you have a question, please post it in the chat. I have collected some questions so far. I think the first question was from Sarah. She says, when you're a nonprofit, how do you sell your brand to make people feel it? Any advice here?
This is the magic of the branding and your why. How do you make people feel it? Figure out your why. Focus on the why. This is how you're going to get people to feel it. Talk to the heart. Talk to the emotions. NGOs are great with that. You know, when you see an ad of somebody struggling, like, but I think we're going also beyond. With NGOs, we need to go beyond that because we have seen so many NGOs using actually the same messaging with the feelings, right? So how can you go beyond that and be different? And I think at this time it's about how in NGOs is a difficult actually market. I think you have to differentiate yourself from the previous messages that we could see in this space. And I don't have the answer right now, but I would highly recommend to focus on why you are doing it. Why? Going even stronger in that messaging, and how would you do it? What are the tools, marketing tools you would use to communicate with your target audience? Reach them out differently, ask them seriously, like ask them what would make them commit. Why aren't they paying anymore? We don't ask our customers enough. We don't ask straightforward questions because we feel it's not appropriate, but that's the best way to actually ask. I sometimes ask my clients how much they're paying for others. I don't care. If they don't feel comfortable answering, they will tell me, but I tried. So ask questions, ask why they're not committing anymore, what would make them get involved in these projects, what would they expect from me? Would they need more insight into what we're doing, for example? Would they want to contribute differently? So it's about communicating and asking your clients what they want.
Okay. I would actually add to that as well and say a nonprofit is the same as a private equity firm. It is the same as a bank. You know, it's the same business you need to run. You need to be sustainable. So use whatever resources and tools you have at hand to grow. I think a lot of NGOs or nonprofits do themselves a disservice when they say, oh, but I'm a nonprofit. A nonprofit means that you do not have a dividend at the end of the month. Doesn't mean, at the end of the year, doesn't mean that you cannot pay yourself or the people who work for you. So the minute you change your mindset to seeing yourself as a business, that goes a long way.
So the Grinder Academy on the Factory Academy works as well for nonprofits. As you said, business is a business. And the structure and the advice and the go-to-market strategies and the branding and the stories are the same. So you can use it as well.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So the next question was about, I think from Joanna, it was about, could we get these questions Raya mentioned? Yes. So I think this was the why, how, what.
Yeah.
Yes, you can get those. The next question is.
It's also in Grinder Academy.
The next question is, if you found out you wanted to be an entrepreneur before you went to university, would you have skipped it?
Yes.
In order to see how far you could get without it?
I think I would have skipped it, yes. I would have gone to the Silicon Valley. I wasted 5 years but it gave me a degree, who got me a job in a bank, who got me to understand better my clients today. So it's okay.
Yeah, I think you have to, at least if I have to answer that question, I think I will spend less time at university because I spent way too many years studying. However, I think the foundation, a lot of the things you learn in university, it's not really like how to solve that calculus or that quadratic equation. It's mainly like how to communicate with people, how to give presentations, how to work with others. And I think that these skills are essential. However, I would not have studied for 12 years.
12, oh my God, I did 5 and it was enough.
But yeah. Okay, so what is the best way to get in touch with investors or with a fundraising expert that gets a cut from investments? Do you have any tips on what type of language to use?
What do you mean language?
I guess this person means language in terms of how do you talk to them?
Okay, so I would say that in Norway, one of the great things is that it's a small ecosystem. Everybody knows each other. You can search for investors, angel investors, Oslo, you will find them, seriously. They are in the news, they are on Shifter, they are on the N, Finance Avisen, you find them easily, and you can get in touch. But that's not the best way to do it. So build a relationship with investors before you need them. Get them to follow your journey, to know what you're doing, to just see that you can also reach your goals. Tell them, this is what I'm working on. Would you join my email list? We're doing this is great, and we're aiming to be at 100,000 users in 1 year. I would love for you to advise us from time to time. Just get them involved so they can follow your journey, and when you need them, you will go to somebody who knows you, basically. So it's about relationship, build a relationship. That's my biggest advice. But it depends on the stage of your company. If you are an amazing company getting traction, you can also get in touch with an investor and you know what are the numbers they're looking for because you've been running your companies, you've been knowing your numbers, you know what to tell them to get their attention. If you're not there yet, you have to get in touch with them, be part of this network for some time, contact them. They're all approachable and they're very nice people. And also be ready. Have your pitch ready. Don't come and just say, I want to do this and I want to do this, but I don't know how to, and I don't know how to do this. Look, be professional. Be ready as much as possible.
Definitely agree with that. Next question here is, how do you reach out in order to find a co-worker? So I'm guessing like someone to work with you, because this is not to just find a skilled person. Sorry, I'm reading here. You need to find the perfect person. How much time would you invest?
You mean in hiring again? In hiring?
In finding someone to work with you, yes.
Yeah, I think it's important to take time. As I said, be slow in hiring someone and be fast in firing when necessary. Take your time, but sometimes...
Sorry, she says co-founder, not co-worker. So co-founder.
Same thing, take your time, especially with a co-founder. Take your time. It's like getting married to somebody. Would you just sign with someone? Would you just go get married at the coastal commune? So you don't do that. You take your time. And that's what I would advise.
Okay, next question is, what is your advice to a person who's passionate about entrepreneurship and is considering to take 1 to 2 years on before deciding to study? No, rather, so basically someone is deciding to try being an entrepreneur for 1 to 2 years before deciding to go study instead. Because studying at uni is not so tempting when you taste the excitement of being an entrepreneur.
Well, I think you have your answer. If you're not really excited about going to the university, just do what you are obsessed with. Because if you go to the university, you're just going to be obsessed about what you're doing, and you're not going to be focused at the university. You're going to be wasting your time. So you have your answer. In my opinion, I don't know this person, but that's, if given your question, I would say yes, give it a try if this is really what you want to do.
Yeah,
you can always go to university. And I hope the parents of this person are not going to find us.
Like Raya told me not to go to university, Mom.
Sorry. I don't know. I think she has her answer in the question.
Yes, I agree as well. So the next question is how to balance life and family time with being an entrepreneur. It is so easy to get overwhelmed that you would just not, you don't prioritize anything else but your startup.
Yeah, I've been there. I have two kids, and one of them was screaming outside the door. I could hear him, and I was about to say, "Listen, guys, I need to go." Okay, but my husband. This is why it's important. My husband is very supportive, so he took the kid downstairs. I understand that we can get obsessed with our ideas. I'm completely obsessed by what I do, and it's difficult to find to prioritize sometimes the family, but you have to find a balance because otherwise there will be no family. There will be something will be sacrificed. So find arrangements. Like 2 years ago, I had during 2 years I had an au pair, and that helped a lot. If you cannot have an au pair, have family members helping you, or with your partner, find a balance between. It's about communication and finding time for yourself and your family as well. And I think it's important to have a balance in life. Otherwise, one of something is going to crash. You, the family, or your business.
So to points to that, we recently did a session with Raya on our Women Who Inspire for Diversify. And one of the things that got to me was she believes that we can have it all. So oftentimes we meet entrepreneurs who say, you know, I have to decide between my family or my work or all these other engagements or commitments that I have. And I think that if you set your mindset to how Raya's mindset is that, okay, I can have it all. Yes, I can't have it all at 100%, but let's see how I can navigate and mitigate this. So if you can't afford an au pair, maybe you have an auntie or a friend who can help you out when you need. So one of the things, I guess this as well to Raya, is one of the things I really took from, you know, talking to you for that interview was that, yes, we can have it all. Why not? You know, we don't have to trade one thing for the other.
And be solution oriented. And this being solution oriented, again, is going to help you in your life, in your business. Always be solution oriented. When you, with your team, when there is a problem, be solution oriented. Always. Don't focus on the problems and don't start putting labels on yourself like, we cannot do it, I cannot make it, I'm a woman, I'm a female entrepreneur. I don't even use these words. I don't say I'm a female entrepreneur, I'm a female investor, I'm a female coach. I don't care about labels, because I believe that the moment you start putting labels, you start putting limitations, and you just put that on you, and you're the only one who did this to you.
Okay. Kaman said, I applied for many grants and funding. They ask a lot about B2C and B2B markets. Which markets will you be targeting, etc.? So if you say human to human, what do you really mean by that? And how can you convey that?
So in the human to human, it's more about your approach when you approach a market, when you approach customers. So consider them as humans. Don't see them as a business. In front of you, this is what I mean by human to human. In front of you, you have a human, and you help this human. You have a human to human conversation where you try to figure out together how you can help them. This is what I mean.
Okay.
People are still, especially for grants or for whatever, they still, you will use this categorization of B2C, B2B. In the human to human, maybe it will come in the future, but right now use it to have that in mind when you approach a client. Remember, it's a human in front of you.
Yeah. And I think if I can add to that is just, if you think about it from a micro perspective. So I think when people are saying B2B and B2C, you know, they're looking at it on a business level. And even though your organization is human to human, you still need to be able to satisfy the B2B or B2C. So if you look at it as though you don't have to trade your human to human purpose in order to attract the grants that you need, I think that helps, perhaps. My next question is, I forgot who sent this, but is, what is needed to start your own business when everyone around you feel and know you're ready, but you're not. So I think this is from Norma. Main reasons: no cash, not enough self-confidence, afraid to lose my freedom to become slave of too many responsibilities, or maybe gain my freedom. So a lot of fear happening. Maybe too many excuses. What are the best advice to motivate someone to start their own business?
The best advice? I mean, I had myself people telling me, why don't you just get a job? Many times, family members. I think that my parents don't even know what I do. Seriously, I'm really serious. They have no idea what I do. They can't understand it. It's not a type of business that they used to do that they used to experience, that they experience or they know. So how much do you want this business? You know, is this something you really, really want because you can't do otherwise? Have you reached that level? To me, I reached that level. So I didn't care anymore about what people would say, what clients might think if I am too bold, what potential users would say if I am too, direct or approaching them. I used to contact people I really don't know on Facebook, but I met some of the most interesting and supportive people just by reaching out on Facebook to people I've seen in the news, and I added them and I sent a message and they're now friends and they're supporting me, So you need to love so much what you want to do, commit so much to your vision that you don't care anymore. And that's why it's really important to find something you're really passionate about. Because when you have found what you want, really what you want to do, nothing will stop you. You can't. And also it's about, I have a philosophy in this life where I want to make the most of it. I don't want to live when I'm 60. I don't want to create my dreams when I'm 50. I want now, because tomorrow I don't know if I'm going to be there. Because why not? Because we can have it all. I don't want to wait anymore to be passionate, be happy every day. I do it today. I do what I like today.
And I mean, in addition to that, one of the things that I can say to that is when you have so many excuses and so many fear, I mean, trying will only bring something different, because right now you're sitting in your fear, you're sitting in your self-doubt, and nothing is happening, nothing is changing in your life. But how about you try? You really have nothing else to lose. That's kind of how I also try to think about this. And quickly, she also, I think she commented here saying, she has too many passions, how to choose.
Just want to say something. I have a meeting in a few minutes. So we will take a few more questions and then I have to go back to my work, to my other work. So how do we do when we have too many passions? How to choose? I would say the one you're most obsessed with and the one that you can turn into a business.
Okay, so we have two more questions. So thanks for this great session, Raya. I think you're brilliant. At the beginning of your talk, you mentioned how your past experience in the corporate has been useful. Can you share some tips on how a startup can best approach and engage with big organizations?
It's a very good question, and I'm happy you asked it. So how do we approach corporates? I've been myself in that position as a startup. You have to have a few things in mind when you approach a corporate. They make money when they meet you. They are paid to take time to meet you. While you are going to a meeting, you're actually not making money that moment, unless you're a huge company and everything is up and running, right? So when you go into meetings with the corporate, assuming that you got already in, you have to keep in mind that the priorities are different, that they might just be curious to hear about what you're doing. So of course, protect yourself. You also have to keep in mind that there are processes internally within these organizations that you are not the priority. Whatever you have created, if it's the greatest invention ever, you are still not the priority because they have their own business up and running and it's functioning. So keep in mind that it's going to take a big process. If everything is positive, it's going to be a process of 6-9 months more to actually start getting paid by them, assuming that they want to test you, they want to use your solution, they want to be a pilot customer. So now you have a lot of corporates involved within the startup community. There were events, now it's online events. These people involved within the startup community who represent large companies, they are approachable. You can, just like I do, because I don't know everybody here in Oslo, just like I do, you contact them, you can reach out. But when you reach out, you have to be very clear why you're reaching out and what value you're going to create for them. I seriously still get messages every day from people I don't know. I open them, but I have stopped replying when I see that I used to reply to everybody because I have to be nice and careful with my reputation. But now I stopped replying because it's too much, but I also stopped replying to those, the message is not clear. Like, why? Like, they send me a pitch deck. Like, why would I even open? Like, make it relevant. Have you done your research on me? Do you know in which companies we invest at the factory? Like, you send me a pitch deck, you ask me to help you, like, hi, could you help me? Okay, what should I help you with? What are the challenges you're facing? Have you done your research on me? Can I invest in you? Like, be prepared because you have one shot, one chance. Preparation is key, but these people are approachable. And once you have a meeting, be clear about what value you create for them. Also prepare yourself, protect yourself, what you share. The best way is to think about creating something with them that solves a problem. It's very important to solve problems that they have experiencing and that they're ready to pay for. So a few things that you need to have covered. And by the way, there is a module on Gründer Academy again, talking about startup corporate collaboration, and it's done with Jörn, who's the director of startup director at Oslo Business Region. So it's an interview between him and I where we exactly talk about this. So it's going to be available and it's for free.
Okay, thank you. And last question. How hard was it for you as a woman to be an entrepreneur in a man's world? Have you encountered situations in which you hit the wall like this? And I think this question is to you and me. Go, Raya.
Okay. So I'm going to say no. And the reason is that, as I mentioned, I really don't see myself as a woman. I know I am a woman. I know I have 2 kids. I love having long hair and I'm very girly and feminine. I like that. But I don't see myself like that when I talk to men, when I'm on stage, when I advise companies. I work super well with men, actually, very well with men. I love working with strong women who have the same mindset as me, who are go-getters, who go beyond who they are, what they look like, that they are from an immigrant background, from a background that is not relevant. So I would really advise maybe for women, maybe, to stop seeing themselves as women. I don't see myself as Moroccan, born in Morocco. I don't see myself as a foreigner. I don't see myself as a mom or a woman. When I'm in a meeting, when I'm in professional setups, I see myself as me with a value, with an asset, with something to offer. And I speak up, and I don't look at people. Sometimes, actually, to be honest, sometimes I look at a meeting room and I'm like, I'm only surrounded by men. And they are listening to me. And these guys are 50 plus. Wow, actually, this is nice. But before going to the meeting, I got that meeting because I never saw myself as a woman, 35-year-old, and, you know.
To answer that question, I think for me, I have a different relationship with this where I see myself as a woman. I do acknowledge and recognize that women have it harder than men, nonetheless, in, say, the professional world. Statistics and research backs it up. However, I work in finance. I work in a field where everyone in the meeting is a old white gray man most of the time, and so I definitely feel my difference in that regard. But nonetheless, like Raya said, that has never stopped me. Because I'm a woman, I feel powerful. You know, I feel that I know for a fact that I know my stuff. I am confident in my worth. And when I talk, they will listen to me. So I never really go into any room expecting like, ooh, are they going to treat me like a woman? I mean, what is that? It's like, how are they supposed to, what is it to be treated as a woman? I think that you walk into a room and you can own that space. You know, there's a thing about how you set the stage, how you want people to see you. And you can do that just by projecting your mindset. And this is what it is in my experience. I do know that a lot of women struggle with this, but I actually don't see myself as, oh, I'm a woman, so I'm less than, or I'm not deserving of this position, or I shouldn't be heard. Actually, I should be heard because I'm a woman. I'm deserving of this position because I'm a woman, because I know better. This is the mindset I walk in with, and it works every time.
And I would say, when I see myself as a woman, just like you, I see it at my advantage.
Yeah.
I have things that they don't have, you know? I have ways that I talk because I'm more sensitive. I pick up on things they say. I adjust. I am maybe kinder, you know? I'm more smooth in the way I talk, you know? I can so use your strengths. Use it. Use your woman powers.
Yeah, know your value, because you're there to make their business better. You have like perspectives they don't have. So if you think of yourself as, I'm coming here to make you better, to help you grow, I think that changes your mindset immediately, and they start to see you as that. Anyway, so this was the last question. We have to round off because Raya has to run. We thank you all for joining and being a part of this. We have your email, so we will send you updates and information about the Factory Academy. Please, I cannot emphasize how much you need to join, because it is free. It is free resource for you to grow. We will also include you in the article that we're writing after this to send out, so you can read more. And this video will be made available. I think I will include the link in the email we send to you as well. So I know you might be receiving, sorry?
And I will put now that in the chat the link to the Factory
Academy. Please do.
Everybody is here. I will just do it. Yes. And you will also send it separately.
Please, we will be happy for feedback to see how we can improve and get better with this. Since we're all stuck at home, Diversify will be hosting weekly sessions like this. And we're also looking to bring Raya back, where we do a deeper dive into a particular topic that relates to entrepreneurship and growing your business. So we hope to see you guys soon again. But yes, please, any feedback you have for us will be appreciated. And I want to thank Raya for this amazing session. I am so honored that you decided to come on and be my first guest. So this is fantastic. Thank you. So, you know, I love you. You know, I think you're amazing. So, thank you for being here and for providing people with so much, you know, tools that they could use. I can even tell from people just saying thank you, you know, that they also appreciate you. So thank you for all you do for free for everyone. Thank you.
And also thank you for everyone for staying. So nice of you. And so rewarding, and it feels, you know, if we were doing this and there were 2 people, it's amazing. But the fact that actually most of you stayed, it means that we hopefully have helped you and that you found it valuable. And this is why we're doing this. We're doing this to help you, and we want everybody to succeed and create the life and business they want.
Yeah, your being here validates our why. So the reason Raya and I are here doing this, where we could be doing something else, is because this is our why. So
yes, it's our why.
Validating our why.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you, Raya.
Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I'm there, and I'm reachable. Okay.
I will add Raya's contact to the emails as well I send to you.
Cool. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
Girls and ladies. Bye.